Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to March edition of your East Fort Worth Business Association. Thank you all for being here. We missed last month because of the ice, but we're back in Texas this month. We've got a lot of great programs coming up for you guys throughout the rest of the year. I'll let Gary tell you about some of those. He's scheduled a lot of those for us and let him talk about those later. But the first thing we are going to do is have our invocation by the Reverend Ginger Watson right here on Holly Denver.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
I'm so glad to get to be here with the Association and welcome you guys on behalf of Holly United Methodist Church. There are so many wonderful things that are going on here, and you guys are part of that. We are hoping always that our church is unlike in our community. And so that's what you guys are all about, is building up East Fort Worth. I'm grateful to you. We are now hosting St. Luke's in the Meadow Episcopal Church here at our facility, and with them has come the Four Saints Food Pantry. Every Friday, we're feeding about 200 families at Four Saints Food Pantry, and once a month there's a mobile delivery from the Tarrant Area Food Bank, feeding even more. March 25th, we're going to be participating in the Great Cowtown Cleanup, and we're going to be focusing on cleaning up this neighborhood in East Fort Worth. I would invite you all to think about participating in that. It's really fun. One of the great Fort Worth things. So lots of things going on, but I would be so thrilled if you would consider coming on a Sunday. Look at you guys, you're all here on a Thursday. You can come on a Sunday at 10:50 and worship with us. And on many Sundays, you would get to hear our own Gary Cumby singing in the choir, and just the other week singing a solo that knocked our socks off. So think about that. Come and join us if you would. But let's all pray. Holy God, I thank you for the East Fort Worth Business Association and for their commitment to this community. Thank you for each person here and the ways in which they serve. Bless this food to the nourishment of all our bodies. Thank you for the great blessing of getting together to meet and to plan. Bless this group. Help this time be productive. Help it be a time of building community and bridges. And let there be a sense of hope and excitement for our community and for our whole country. Thank you, God, for all you are doing in Fort Worth. And I pray this in Jesus' name. And all God's people said, amen.
Thank you. Fun. Okay, I have time. Now you will stand and join me with the pledge. United States of America. Board member, thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to today's meeting. I have the pleasure on behalf of the membership to welcome our guests to today's meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the folks that signed up today. If you could just stand up so everybody can know who you are. Our first guest today is Jeanette Martinez. Is Jeanette here? So Jeanette is here with us, the District 11 candidate. So good luck with the upcoming election. Pleasure to have you here today. We also have Ann Hofstetter. Did I say that right, Ann? And so Ann's with Northern Crane Realty. Welcome to the meeting. Also have Ruth Ray. So Ruth. And Ruth was giving us today with Mary. Welcome. Also David Usley. David is here with Covenant City. Did I say that right?
Yes, not a problem.
And David is real welcome to have. Tara Hoff. Tara is here with the City of Fort Worth. So Kara, welcome to today's meeting. And then I'm gonna say Sunshine Johnson. Did I get you right? So Sunshine, welcome to today's meeting. She's from the city of Fort Worth with God. You had smart guests with us today that didn't sign in today. So if you could go ahead and stand up and introduce yourself. I know we have several candidates here today for some of our positions in the city. So if you could stand up and introduce yourselves as well. So any other guests that we have here today that I didn't mention? Everybody? Okay. Thank you, and welcome.
We do have a couple of them beside our guest speaker, a couple of other elected officials in the room. Our standard, Alan's always here, but you know, Alan Blaylock is here in the front row. He's sitting right here with Gina Bivens, and Gina's here regularly, and when she can't be here, she sends it. Right behind Alan. So thank you both for that.
And a former board.
She is. She was a former board member, and for a couple of years, we gave her a plaque like a year ago. And we also have Toby Jackson. You may know Toby Jackson, who's the president of the Women's Society. Thank you all for being here. Up next, Gary Cummings is going to come up. He's going to introduce our guest speaker. Gary took on the responsibility of scheduling all of our guest speakers through the year. And as part of that, he gets to do the introduction. So come on up, Gary. If you're nice, he might sing for you. He has something for us at our board meetings.
And it really cuts down on board attendance.
I wanted to make one announcement notification. For those who don't know, today is Texas Independence Day.
Yes, it is. Texas Independence.
And the tradition is, as I recall, at 1 o'clock, you're supposed to raise your glass and toast and water is fine. To the state.
I'll watch that. President, what did you do? All right. Well, I'm pleased that our speaker could agree to be with us. He was actually kind enough to agree even before he was inaugurated. He had been elected, but he hadn't been inaugurated yet. Back in November, Tarrant County voters elected Tim O'Hare to be our county judge. After our longtime county judge had retired in Whitman. And Tim won that election and was inaugurated in January and contacted me back and said, look, he was on schedule. So we are glad that he could be with us today. I will tell you that he is proud to be a 5th generation Texan. And he's a lifelong resident of this area. He went to the University of Texas for his undergraduate degree and got his law degree at SMU, and then set up a law practice in 2001. It's been rated by several of the agencies that rank and rate, talk about lawyers, exceptional lawyers, and he has come on several of those lists. I will tell you that he also had prior service in politics. He was council member and then mayor in Farmers Branch before moving to Tarrant County. And so now he is our county judge, and I hope that you will join me in wishing him well, reading him as he speaks to us today about what's going on with the county and where he plans to. So Tim O'Hare, thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is great to be here with you. Since I'm not on the campaign trail, I can tell this story about Fort Worth and nobody thinks I'm trying to earn votes. June 3rd, 1976, I was 6 years old. And my mom took me to see Elvis at the Tarrant County Convention Center. And so I'm going into 1st grade and I loved it. My mom's a big Elvis fan. And so like the first month of 1st grade, we took a field trip to Fort Worth Zoo. And then later that, I guess probably would have been in the spring, we took a field trip to the planetarium. So when I was 6 years old and came over to Fort Worth, it was the coolest place. And literally for the rest of my growing up years and into adulthood, I came over here as much as I could when I didn't live here, just because I love Fort Worth. It's a very special place. For those who've lived here forever, you know that. From somebody that lived in a different county, one of the draws that drew us here was I just loved Fort Worth and downtown Fort Worth, and I wanted to move to Tarrant County, and our family moved here where we hardly knew anyone. We bought land here about, I guess it's 12 years ago. So I think Fort Worth is a very special place. I know you all know that, but I want you to know I do. County government. So here's what I believe about county government. It is the most under the radar, unknown piece of government that we have in our country, but I think it is the most impactful. I think it has the most effect on people's day-to-day lives in all of the different things that it does in departments. So for those that don't know, and this may be elementary to many of you, but for some of you may have something new here. The county government is the sheriff's department, which runs the jail, which is what it's most known for, but it also does law enforcement for unincorporated areas in Tarrant County and for 5 cities in Tarrant County, which makes the Tarrant County Sheriff Department the 3rd largest law enforcement agency when it comes to policing behind Fort Worth and Arlington in Tarrant County. It's also the district attorney's office, which, as you all know, decides whether or not to seek an indictment on a criminal matter, prosecutes the crimes. And it's the Tarrant County DA's office, is the largest law firm in Tarrant County. It's also the civil courts, the criminal courts, it's the tax assessor. And we all know the tax assessor collects all of our property taxes. But it's also elections. And there are sometimes up to 6 elections in a year. All of that I've just described as part of the county. And then, of course, JPS, while not directly managed by the county, our hospital district, the board of directors is appointed by the commissioner's court. And the tax rate for the hospital district is set by this commissioner's court. So the commissioner's court, just a quick refresher, and then I'll get into some more substance. Commissioner's court made up of 5 people, all 254 counties in the state of Texas. The county government is run by this thing called the commissioner's court, which is made up of the county judge who presides over the court. So it's like the governor of the county or the mayor of the county, if you will. And then the commissioners are divided up into 4 precincts. And that's the same for every county in Texas, all 254. And then this governing body serves almost as a legislature for the county, but a legislature that's so small, it takes 3 votes to get anything done. The difference between the county government commissioner's court and legislative body is we actually don't make laws. We make policies, we pass budgets, we set tax rates. And the county government, this commissioner's court, sets the tax rate for the county and also sets the tax rate for JPS. So it has a pretty big law enforcement component, county government, but it also has a huge financial impact on the property taxes you pay with the tax rate set by the commissioner's court. So far, we've been at it now for 2 months. So I think that, as the saying goes, I was sworn in on January 1 and started being sworn out on January 2. And so far, we've had a commissioner's court that I would say works well together. Most of you probably know this is 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats, but we all seem to get along, and we've had disagreements on some policies, but the disagreements are the way that I think it ought to be at our legislature and in Congress, where people can still hug each other and smile and shake hands and be friendly, and we work really well together. We have 3 people that have changed over, so I became the county judge, obviously. Manny Ramirez took J.D. Johnson's place on the commissioner's court. J.D. had been there since, it's like 1907, maybe a bit a lot. And he took Commissioner Johnson's place, and then took Judge Whitman's place. And then, of course, we have Elisa Simmons, who took Devin Allen's place. So we have 3 new members of the commissioner's court. And with the 2 remaining commissioners that are the veterans, Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Fickus. Commissioner Fickus has already stated that he's not running again. I don't have an announcement on Commissioner Brooks, but that would be 4 new people in a 2-year period, which is the largest changeover I think Tarrant County's ever seen. I happen to be the 33rd county judge in the history of Tarrant County. It's kind of interesting fact. And some more facts and figures about Tarrant County, and then we'll get into some substance and policies, if you will. Tarrant County is the 15th most populous county in the United States, third most populous county in Texas. Tarrant County has more people living in it than 14 states in the United States. So it's a very big undertaking. It's 902 square miles, 41 different cities and 20 different school districts. So Tarrant County is a huge county, but it's also, the county government is a huge operation. When you combine the county budget and the JPS budget, it's over $2 billion. So it's a huge undertaking. What exactly does a county judge do? So county judge, the position itself, was maybe the most under the radar executive position in government that exists prior to the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, many people in the population never heard of a county judge, or somebody with a gavel on the road, heard cases. And in Texas, that can still be done by all county judges. The county judges of the 6 largest counties don't do that, but just about every other county judge in Texas actually hears cases, probate cases, and they actually have jurisdiction to hear some criminal cases. But so there are still county judges all over the state that actually do wear that robe and have the gavel and preside over trials. But in Tarrant County and the other 3 counties of Texas, we don't. But the county judge is the one that has the sole emergency management authority for a county. The county judge has the power to close down schools for businesses, as we saw during the pandemic. So it's an incredibly big responsibility. We also have the power to declare emergencies. And then the county judge, different from the commissioners, has a lot of different appointment authority to different boards and commissions. Some totally controlled by the county judge's office, some where the county judge gets their own appointments. And then there's different groups and executive boards that you're on. So as the county judge, I'm on the executive board of directors of the North Central Texas Council of Governments. I'm also the chairman of the Workforce Governing Board in Tarrant County, which is a 3-person board, the county judge, the mayor, Fort Worth, Mayor Arlington. It is a big responsibility, big undertaking. And I left the private sector, if you want to call it that. I had never had a paid government job, although I had been a council member and a mayor. Prior to that, I'd served on planning and zoning, or referred to that as my sentence in government. That wasn't my cup of tea, but I did it and served my community. This is the first paid job I had, and I left, what would be described as a much better paying job than this one, but I felt called to do it. And a lot of people say that, but I did not want to do it. I wasn't looking to do it. I had some people call me and ask me to do it. And I told them no, but I meant it. I had reached a point in my career financially where things were good, and I wanted to enjoy the fruits of many years of labor. Ultimately, after prayer, talking to a lot of people, I decided to run, and then ran as hard as I knew how to run for 18 months, and unfortunately got elected. So it's an incredible honor to be the county judge of Tarrant County, which I think is the finest county in the entire state of Texas, which I think is the greatest state in the country, and I think we live in the greatest country in the world. I really am a product of the American dream. I believe it is alive and well here in this country and here in Tarrant County. And I tell you that, I came home from the hospital to a little 900 square foot house. We didn't have a garage. My dad left when I was 6 months old, and my mom raised me and my brother by herself. She taught me about education before I even knew she could teach me. She literally told me the week I came home, she would tell me I was going to college. So I was the first person ever to go to college in my family. We lived in a pretty low income community and in a very small house, but I didn't know any different. I didn't know any better. The house was full of love. We had family close by, but she always talked about the value of education. And, I was able to go to school, work hard. I didn't know till I was 16 years old that you didn't actually have to go to college. I thought that's what you had to do, just the way she taught me about it. So I was conditioned to go. And so I went to University of Texas, and then ultimately got a law degree. And I told somebody this story a minute ago. I'll tell you about this. So I went to a junior high named after a lady, Vivian Field. So I went to Vivian Field Junior High, back when they called them junior highs. And this was 81 to 83, I guess it was, 81 to 83. And my English teacher in 8th grade told us if you ever went to SMU, make sure you apply for the Vivian Field Scholarship at SMU, because she left money for anyone that went to her junior high to get started. And I never had a desire to go to SMU. But years later, when I'm applying to law school, I applied to SMU, and I called the financial aid office. I got accepted and said, hey, what would this scholarship provide? And they didn't know, they never heard of it. So they got back to me after a week or so. It's, well, it hadn't been used in something like 40 years, and it's going to be more than we thought. So ultimately, they came back, and law school at the time, and this is kind of amazing, this was even priced in the 90s, but it was $18,000 a year, and this paid $15,000.
Wow.
And so I have been incredibly grateful. My student loan debt was next to nothing compared to many other people that were in school at the time, and of course today. So I say all that to say education, I believe, is the key to getting out of poverty. It is the key. It's a rising tide lifts all boats. I'm a firm believer in that. And I am going to be, even though I have no jurisdiction whatsoever, the most pro-education county judge this place has ever seen. And any schools that want me to come speak, anytime anyone wants me to speak to a group of kids, I'll be there. I've already done it so far. I've talked to the board superintendent, told him the same thing. I'll say that to all of you. Anytime I can get in front of kids to talk about how important education is, I'll be there. And when I served as the president of the Dallas Christian Legal Society, I started a mentoring program. This is right before I moved to Tarrant County in Dallas's Lincoln High School. It was one of the most impoverished areas in the country. And so we had a group of Christian lawyers that went down there on a monthly basis, mentoring kids, reading to kids, speaking to kids. It was a very, very good program. They were glad to have us. So I will be that guy for as long as I'm in office that talks about the value of education. Okay. Tarrant County goals, policies, things. I believe our property taxes are too high, and I believe they're too high. Thank you very much, Mom. I believe that they are too high at every level. Now, we all have probably heard about the big government budget surplus that the state has, and that they're going to provide tax relief through that. But it's all been focused on schools. It's all been focused on school tax rates. There's nobody in Austin, to speak of, talking about county tax rates or talking about city tax rates. It's all school focused. Now, we don't know what a final bill will look like. We know that the leaders in Austin talk about providing significant property tax relief, but I think our county spends too much money. And I can tell you from 2016 to 2020, if you add population growth plus inflation growth in Tarrant County, there was a study done that said it was a little over 12% growth during that time. During the exact same time frame, Tarrant County, the county government spent more than 44% higher, and almost 4 times the rate of inflation plus population growth. So one of my focuses has been working to stop spending on unnecessary projects and things, and to make sure we do our core services. I'll give you an example of one. Now, we've had, I think, 7 meetings so far. We currently meet on a weekly basis, sometimes it's 3 times a month, but we may change that, we'll see. But so on Tuesday's commissioners board, and this gets a little bit into the weeds, but I think to eliminate unnecessary spending and waste, and to protect your tax dollars and the tax dollars of our businesses, I think there needs to be someone there who is watching the money like a hawk, who knows exactly what it's being spent on, and who asks questions and doesn't just accept, oh, this is a good thing, without prying into it, getting into it. So on Tuesday, Elections Administration had on our agenda a purchase of a product. It was basically an addition to a sorter, and the addition to the sorter, according to them, the only thing that it did was take envelopes that come in on mail-in ballots. There's a perforated thing that humans are now pulling off the perforation to read a number. The only thing this sorter attachment did was do that for people, so they didn't have to pay people to do it. And when I asked, well, does this save money? I got the answer, yes, it saves money. So I questioned, well, how does it say that? And so I got, well, we won't have to pay temporary workers to do this. I said, okay, well, how much do we pay temporary workers to do this? And the answer was, well, on a really big election, we pay $3,000. I said, well, okay, well, how much do we pay that during a year? I mean, do we pay $10,000 a year with all the elections we had? Oh, that's probably high. Okay. And how much does this attachment to the sorter cost? It's $155,000. And so there was never, ever any evidence, information, anything that it saved any money. It was just a convenience where you didn't have to bring in 10 people, but it's not that the 10 people only tore the little perforation. But that's what this machine did. You're still gonna have 10 people. So we voted it, we voted it down, so to speak. There's one person missing, but it didn't pass. And I think we owe it to you and to everyone to make sure the money we spend is not wasted. And I think that would have been a total waste. And I believe that Republicans, Democrats, independents, and apolitical people think their property taxes are too high. We can disagree on what they should be, and we can disagree on what we're spending and what we're doing, but that's going to be a major focus of mine to try to bring down our spending and bring down those taxes. And that's how we do it. Another policy that I'm going to support, and we live in a politically charged time. We probably in our lifetimes, none of us have ever lived at a time when people are so divided and where everything is political. Movies are political, TV is political, newspapers are political, church is becoming political. Everything is political, and everybody sees the political side to it. So I tell you this, I think government's number one job is to protect your God-given rights. That's what I think the number one responsibility of government is. I think the number two responsibility of government is to protect its citizens. And law enforcement, we need it. And the way we have treated, some people have treated and spoken about law enforcement over the last 2 or 3 years, I think is shameful. Now, are there some bad apples here and there? Yes, there are. But law enforcement, they literally walk out of their houses every morning. And I don't say this because these two gentlemen are over here, but thank you for your service. Every morning, people like those gentlemen and ladies walk out of their house. They truly don't know if they're going to see their family again. So just this past week, we had a sheriff's deputy, a man who had served our country in the armed services, now working as sheriff deputy, driving home from his shift at 7 in the morning, and he had a medical episode. They believe it was an embolism. They don't know, but there's a high level of that in law enforcement due to stress and other issues that happens more to people in law enforcement than it does the general public by a large number. And so he caused him to pass out and lose control of his vehicle, and it flipped 7 times. He died. And he left behind 4 children and a wife and a baby on the way. And it is our responsibility, I believe, to treat these people well, to tell them we appreciate them, because they literally may not come home and they put their lives on the line literally on a daily basis. They don't know they're coming back the next day, and their families live with them. And so you will always see, as long as I'm county judge, we will support law enforcement, and we will give them the tools they need to keep us safe and to make sure they're protected. So anybody know what a Bearcat is? Okay. A Bearcat is an armored vehicle. It's basically on a Ford, I think F-750 base, but it's armored, and it keeps them protected when they have to run through crisis. I think it was about 6 months ago, maybe 8. Tarrant County Sheriff Department responded to a hostage situation. Tarrant County does not have a Bearcat. And so all these men and women respond in their cars, most of them their own cars. And the person inside had taken a woman hostage, And this person fired 120 rounds at sheriff's deputies. Now miraculously, no one was injured. I think one guy, something ricocheted off, it got near his eye, but it wasn't a bullet in his eye, he's fine, it's like it's fairly superficial. But, you know, they went to the scene to protect one woman, and they were shot at over and over. The next time, they're gonna be shot at, killed, and maybe multiple. Well, we passed 2 weeks ago the purchase of one of these vehicles. Now, somebody said, why don't you borrow it from someone else? Okay, well, in a hostage situation, you don't exactly have time to pick up the phone and say, hey, y'all busy? Can y'all drive this over? They did call Fort Worth during this situation I'm describing, and the Bearcat got there in an hour and a half. So the time is obviously precious in these situations. So we funded that, and I'm proud to tell people we funded it because we're going to protect our men and women of law. Next thing, jobs. So don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers, but I think you need to hear what people really believe and what they think instead of just gobbledygook up here, just the same old stuff. Fort Worth and Tarrant County has underperformed when it comes to bringing in high quality companies. We can do so much better. And when we bring in high quality companies and target high quality companies, the more high paying jobs there are, the better it is for everybody. And I said it before, a rising tide lifts all boats, and I believe that. And we need to bring more companies in and keep the companies we have and get people to come in here and invest money in our community. Now, Tarrant County is made up of a little over 2.1 million people. Fort Worth is a big piece of that, but it's only about 42%. But we can do more, and I think it's been light years since Fort Worth has actually had a Fortune 500 company bid, and I think the county can help with that. But we need to bring in high quality companies that embrace our way. When I say our way, Fort Worth is unique, Tarrant County is unique. You know, where the West is, and we have that trailblazing, can-do Texas attitude. And there are companies all over the country that love that, and that's who we need to go target and try to bring. Dallas made a mistake, in my opinion, 25, 30 years ago. They wanted to become an international city. So you almost see no references anywhere to our heritage or history of being the West. There's some statues in Dallas City Hall of some Longhorns, and that's really it in all of Dallas. And now I would tell you Dallas just has virtually no identity. It's just anywhere city USA without any geographic beauty or something to draw people there. What we have here is unique and special, and I think we need to capitalize on it and target it. So the last thing I'll say, and then if we still have time for questions, I'm happy to take any. The last thing I'll say is we have a little bit of a strained relationship with county government and our state officials, state senators, state representatives. And for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, that's over. We got to repair that because you usually catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And having a really good relationship with our state legislators and the people at the top, instead of antagonizing them, we can bring more into Tarrant County. So I'm working on that. And one of our assistant county administrators already said the relationship between one of our state senators and the county has already improved miles. And in fact, one is going to sponsor our court's request for a study for a state mental hospital in Tarrant County. The state will not put one in unless it's requested, usually by the commissioner's court. And they won't put one in until they're set that. So we've requested that. That's a bill that's going to go forward in this legislative session, and I think it will pass, which means they'll do that study, and I think the study is going to show that we need one. And so hopefully by the next legislative cycle, we'll have that underway. So I could go on all day. I know you don't have things to do. So questions? Anybody have anything? Yes, ma'am.
Fortune 500 companies we bring in, comparing Dallas to Fort Worth, our main corridor is all urban industrial versus high-tech commercial. Well, it takes by a lot of zoning and planning to take some of that industrial zoning along I-35 and make it commercial industrial high-rises instead of centralized downtown for housing.
Yeah, so, well, I think you said it, which I think would be zoning changes. That's a whole new ball in itself, but. So there is there's something called the Tarrant Regional Transportation Coalition. No, okay, you start on that?
On the RTC.
Yeah, okay. Tarrant Regional Transportation Coalition, leadership there, which I'm now a member of, so. That's the other thing about being a county judge, like you find out literally every other day you're a member of something. And, but you, yeah. So there's leadership is talking about doing a study about the roads in and around downtown. And that study is something that usually TxDOT will pay for if people get behind it. You don't pay for that, but still something that comes out of the state budget. And it basically draws your roadmap of what it ought to look like and things that it can do to help spur development. But this isn't a direct answer to your question, but I think it's pertinent. It's amazing how many placed people with relationships that you can recruit to come to your area if you're making the effort. And a lot of times the effort is not being made. Your people, and this is not Fort Worth specific, this could be any city. Hey, we're wonderful, come to us, and we sit back waiting for them to come to us, and then they don't. The ones that are aggressive about it can make things happen. You know, like Frisco, for example. Frisco, I mean, every time you turn around, okay, the Cowboys practice facilities there, now the PGA of America is moving there, now they're gonna have a PGA Tour event. I mean, they are aggressive about doing it. So it has to be intentional. And I have heard from some folks that all businesses and companies want is just tax incentives. And I'm telling you that that's not accurate. A lot of them want it, but a lot of them want to know they're wanted. And they want to know that they fit in with us, and they want to be sold on how to go to your schools, how to go to your roads. And the number one driving factor is an educated workforce. And because in Tarrant County, we're fortunate, we have a pretty good educated workforce. And with the new Texas A&M campus that's going to come in, that's going to make it even better. So we have a lot to sell. I don't think we're going to do a very good job of selling it here for a while. So, all right, yes.
There's been a kind of a kerfuffle this week about the county's participation in funding for some housing for the homeless. Can you shed some light on it?
That's all the time we have. So what you're referring to is a Las Vegas Trail project. And so I expect that project to pass, if not this next commissioner's court, but there's negotiating that goes on. And so negotiation went on, and some other people have agreed to change some things, do some things. I think some ownership interest amongst the group that was going to do it is not going to be there. I think Fort Worth's kicking in some money. If you don't pass it, I don't know this yet, but I think it's I expect from the commissioner's court, and it's all ARPA funds. You know what ARPA funds are? This is all the money that the federal government gave the county. It was basically for COVID. It was described as to deal with COVID, and then it's kind of been changed over time where it's darn near for anything you want at this point. They gave out more money than people really could use, so now they're doing all sorts of things with it, and they kind of okay. But I think that's going to pass the commission report on here in the next 2 weeks, and I think that's still come to fruition. But there was a negotiation going on. Sorry.
My name is Toby Owen. I'm the CEO of the Presbyterian National League. And I wanted to add to that statement as well. So on Tuesday as well, there were other projects, and we were one of them. We're doing a 96 unit housing development in Southwest Fort Worth, and it's a partnership between the county, our nonprofit, and Tarrant County. And you guys approved on Tuesday the funding for 24 units. That goes directly to house people that are currently homeless. So thank you for that. So I've been in the shelter for almost 14 years, and for about 45 years, East Fort Worth has been the location where all the homeless shelters reside. You did see that. And I'm oftentimes in a really predicament with neighborhoods in this location. In my opinion, the solution to homelessness is not for us to build another shelter. It's just not. The solution is for us to build affordable housing throughout the city of Fort Worth, throughout Tarrant County. That's what's called homelessness. And so I think any opportunity that the county has or other municipalities have to support housing is the solution, because it normalizes everyday life for the people that are experiencing homelessness at that time. So there are several projects going now in all areas of the city of Fort Worth and areas of the county. So those type of decisions that the commission court makes directly impacts this area in a very positive way. So all that say, in addition, thank you really for the vote this past Tuesday, because it will definitely make a direct difference for these neighborhoods.
Okay, I want to keep going. One more question, and we'll call it a day. Anybody else? Ruth, if we had a plant question from you. Yes.
It's estimated that 50% of the future growth of the area will be not in the city of Fort Worth, will be in the county. So you're gonna have a lot of growth, obviously, outside the city limits of Fort Worth. How are you gonna handle all that infrastructure and need for policing and that type of thing?
Well, so in terms of the growth, there's, in the Northwest, there's gonna be a lot of growth. There has already been a lot of growth in the Northeast. And, in terms of infrastructure, the roads bond, transportation bond, that's passed, I think it's 2019. There's a lot of money left in that for that. When it comes to policing, so the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department only does policing in the unincorporated areas and these 5 cities that contract out with us to do the police forces. The rest of the policing will be handled by the cities, which the county would have to do. So I think there's right now, in terms of population in these unincorporated areas, there's about 80,000 people living there. And so we're thinking here in the next decade or less, that it'll be at least 100,000 in the unincorporated areas, but then that's assuming that the cities don't annex them and take it over. So we will absolutely, when we have to meet that need at Tarrant County, we will absolutely do that and make sure we have good law enforcement. And we just approved in 3 weeks ago. Have you guys ever been to the Sheriff's Training Academy? Have you ever been to that building? So we have this Sheriff's Training Academy, which is out of Resource Connection. That is, I mean, it's an embarrassment. I mean, they literally have somebody there sitting in a desk in a hallway. It was the old state mental hospital. It was not designed as a training academy, and we have a shooting range, an outdoor shooting range that can't be used right now, believe it or not, because they fired into the hills so many times that now it's starting to ricochet back. So that had to get shut down. I mean, like this looks like something from 1920. So we approved. Yeah. So we approved about 2-3 weeks ago, we approved a new sheriff's training academy to be built using ARPA funds. And we're going to vote on an architect to draw plans and give us ideas on Tuesday. And I think that will sail through. And what it will do, it'll be a regional training academy, but it will help us to recruit and retain people in the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department. Right now, law enforcement agencies all over the country are having trouble recruiting people and retaining people. So I think this will go a long way. All right, thank you. Hey, it's been an honor to be here. Thank you very much.
We have a provision here that our speaker gets to help give away door prizes. Excellent, excellent, great. Make these sound
And if I didn't introduce her, Ruth Ray is with my office, so if we can ever help you, ever need to visit with her, talk to her. Okay?
wonderful. You get to let me. Company has given us
Girl Scout.
quite a selection, so if you want to draw a ticket, read the last three.
Ruth Ray. 3689.
3689.
3689.
All right, Charles. And that's back to Charles. Thank you. One of the most sought after door prizes that we have is from Gallup, Barber and Brandon. Bob, it's so good to see you here. That's that you recently, and we didn't know. But thank you so much, Bob. What color is this?
From Brazil.
Saint Cecilia from Brazil.
And I have one.
Great. Well, maybe you'll win another one.
Yeah, we know this is big.
3701.
3701. 3701. That's always been highly sought after. Compliments of Wanda. We have 2 first-class mixed nuts, and they'll go to 2 different people, so you don't have to pick out. Yes.
All right, 3675.
Say again?
3675.
Okay.
3684. And 3674.
Oh, that's big.
Compliments of one of our greatest sponsors, Mexican Inn, a $25 gift certificate.
3670.
All right, now. You never go there, do you, Tom? And compliments of our treasurer, Angela Baker. All right. Oh, a good Cabernet. All right. Your wine is getting better every time.
I knew Methodists were different than Baptists. 3693.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Harry, you want to come up and talk about some of our how to do it?
First, Ken, thank you again for coming. We appreciate you and Ruth both being here. And, you know, when you think of Fort Worth, think of East Fort Worth. When you think of East Fort Worth, think of us. Okay, keep us in mind. Our speaker, or actually our program next month, will be a candidate. And our own PAC chairman, Bill Swinson, will be the moderator. And we will be speaking to city council and school board contestants in school board districts 2 and 3 and city council districts 5 and 11. So we've invited, that's a total of 13 people. We've invited those, and so far we've heard from 6. But I expect we'll be some others. over the next few days, and we'll have that group here for that forum at our table meeting. May will be Fred. I'm not go blank. Fred Slaylock, how quickly we forget. Fred will be leaving Texas once again, but he'll be with us through month of June. He said he's still on board. He's still looking forward to being here with us. So we'll get Fred Slaylock, President of Texas Western here in May. In June, we have rescheduled our speaker that we were going to have during Iceland last month. We have a gentleman who is a Navy SEAL, former astronaut, and now is the chair or the president of the Medal of Honor Museum that's being built in Arlington. He's going to be our speaker in June now. And then trying to think, we have yeah, there's a couple more in the works, but that's as far as it goes for now. So that's what we're coming.
All right, if anybody, yes,
Before we get out of here, I'd like to recognize that we've got one remember. David, would you stand up and tell us the floor?
Yes, David Philly. I'm a founder of a nonprofit, Covenant City. And what we're trying to do with Covenant City is to be able to reach the community through food and be able to, especially on the eastern part of I-20. We partnered with the police, we partnered with the community center, Handley Community Center. Hope to be able to really reach the community, hopefully in the near future, to just bring hope and bring, food actually.
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, one thing before we go, I guess we've already, Judge O'Hara already kind of pointed out, when I was up here earlier with Reverend Watson, she said, oh, she saw the officers back there serving food with their aprons on, and she said, wow, what a tremendous act of service for them to be serving you here at this event. And I said, yes, they do it often. I guess we sometimes forget that they give them their time like that. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next month for our candidates. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be back.